with everything you've done, young guys coming up, one thing that I always try and tell people is like, I fucked around my entire 20s. I found alcohol at 18, partied, drugs, everything through my 20s. Mm-hmm. And I always tell the young guys, like, do it later if you're going to do it, like, especially the young fighters. And, you know, some will listen, and you know what it's like when you were young and the older fella would tell you things, you'd be like, yeah, all right, mate, all right. But advice for younger fellas, and like even myself, I'm on a building site with older tradesmen, and I always, you know, they have a way to do a job. You know, I'm not that, I hate it when the young guy always is like, no, we're doing it my way. And I'm like, this guy's been doing it 10 years longer. He's probably dealt with problems that you haven't even come across yet. So for a young guy coming up, whether he wants to get into being a cutman, holding pads, being a coach, fighters, anything like that, what advice would you give to a young fella?
Ooh, how long have you got?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things. So let's say we take it from a fighter's point of view or a performance point of view, and we'll work back, right?
Yep.
So we know that elite athletes, and I term an elite athlete as anybody that sacrifices something for their sport. And that can be as simple as, sorry lads, I'm not going out tonight because I'm fighting in 2 weeks. Or I'm not going out tonight, I have a big game tomorrow. Or, hey babe, can we not spend that money because I have a really important trip that I want to go away on to Thailand or something like that. Mm-hmm. I deem that as elite. That means you're taking your sport seriously. Elite mindset, right? Elite then obviously where you end up, you know, are you world class? Are you elite? Are you top of your game? But anyone that takes their sport really seriously. And what most elite and world class fighters have in common, right, is there's a thing called, so I try and upgrade my skill set all the time. I'm always looking for things to learn and things to do. So I think 10 years ago, I went and I did a diploma I went back to school, back to university to do a diploma in sports psychology. And one of the things that we learned is that there's a thing called the performance triangle, right? And to be an elite performer, I'll get to your question eventually, right? An elite performer has three things on this triangle. One of the things on the triangle, they say, is motivation. Now, I swapped that out to discipline because motivation and discipline are not the same thing. They're just not, right? So you have motivation / discipline. Another part of the triangle is, they say, learning or teachability or coachability, right? Mm-hmm. And then the third one, which is just as important as the other two, maybe even more important, is creativity. What can you do that no one else has done? What can you do with the information you've received? You. And your style of art, fighting, the way you talk, the way you cut hair, the way you ride your bike, your style, like skateboarder, snowboarder, BMX rider, photographer, right? Your style is an accumulation of everything that's ever happened to you in your life. So you teach a kid that's been bet down his entire life, beaten up forever, and then you bring him into your gym and you teach him, and you say, right, there you go, go. He won't have much creativity. He'll just be this bludgeoning tool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You get a kid that's quite creative, artistic, whatever. You give him the same coaching, he'll be completely different. He'll maybe have more finesse. He'll be more of a surgeon rather than a hammer, right? And you're looking at them going, oh yeah, they've got two completely different styles. Because your life determines that. So I think from a coaching point of view, we want to lean into that creativity a bit, yeah? And So if I was talking to young men and giving them any advice, my main advice would be don't bring your baggage with you. And that's anywhere. Don't bring your baggage into a relationship. Don't bring your baggage into a job. Don't bring your baggage into your sport. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're struggling and you have history or there's things that you're ashamed of, things that happened to you that weren't your fault or were your fault, go and get help for that stuff. Go and talk to somebody, a professional, not like your mate down the gym saying, look, do you know what, this is what happened to me, or, you know what I mean? Like, go and talk to people, because your outlet to your problem or your solution to your problem won't fix it. Because you'll be like, oh yeah, I love the gym is great, it calms me down. Yeah, but you're not fixing the problem, bro. Do you know what I mean? You still have that baggage, it's still there. You know, for me, when I was like, my dad left, right? And then I just went on this crazy rampage through life. And, you know, my very first coach, he was murdered. And I remember at his grave, and I didn't know how to think. I didn't know how to think properly. And I remember thinking to myself, I know what I'll do. I'll go and I'll fucking join the army. And I'll come back and I'll fucking kill that guy. But that's my thought process. That's not a normal way to think. But I didn't tell anyone about this. Like, if I'd have told an adult, they'd have went, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah.
Right? But I didn't tell anybody. Because, like you said, the guy on the building site, 10 years of experience. I'm not talking to someone experienced. I'm going to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
So jump on a boat.
Young
go
man's
to
ego.
Oh, absolutely. And your ego will get you killed. Your ego also keeps you alive. So, you know. So anyway, yeah, I went off, joined the Foreign Legion, came back, had absolutely no intention of killing anybody. Do you know what I mean? And I got married, had kids, and then because I never dealt with my baggage, I turned to the drink, right? Now, if you're a young man and you come from a broken home, or you've seen some things, or you have some trauma in your life, you know, you might suffer from a bit of depression, you might need some medications for some things, you might have ADHD or whatever. Don't be listening to people online saying, oh, that doesn't exist, it's made up by Big Pharma to sell you more drugs. It's a very, very real thing. Depression, trauma, all that kind of stuff. And the gym will help you with it, but it won't fix it. Becoming a world champion. So you might join a boxing gym and that will fix your trauma for 8-10 years. You go off, you become a world champion, and the day you retire, all that trauma will be waiting for you.
Yeah.
It'll be just waiting for you because you've never dealt with it. And then all of a sudden you go off the rails. So
I've never liked that, you know, when people say the gym's my therapy or the mats are my therapy. I'm like, yeah, but that's such a slap in the face to the professionals that actually work through the problems.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You feel good going to strangle someone after you've had a bad day, but it's not a fucking therapist.
Yeah. But it's not going to fix your abandonment issues, your people pleasing, your drink and drug habit. It's not going to fix any of that. Do you know what I mean? You need to go and talk to somebody. Say, look, listen, you know. And the thing about trauma is we can get embarrassed by it, you know. Like, we can be embarrassed by our trauma, you know. And I remember, like, when I went to get help, you know, she said to me, she goes, look, you know, there's a scale of, there's this hierarchy of trauma, and it's in your own head. You know, you'll be talking to a guy, and like, she was like, you know, some guy's 10 on the trauma scale might be standing in a mass grave 20 miles outside of Sarajevo, right? Another guy's trauma might be he witnessed a car crash and a dead body flew over.
Yeah.
Another person's trauma might be their dad didn't turn up to their Christmas pageant. They all have the same 10. It's all a 10 to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'd be embarrassed by if someone like, don't want to tell people don't want to tell people I drink heavily because my dad left.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because all my mates' dads left, or my other mate, his dad stayed, but he beats the shit out of him. Well, I don't want to don't tell them I have a problem with that, you know. And then you don't deal with it and your life is going great. So you're an 18-year-old kid, you want to do a bit of boxing. You come from a really nice family, you know, both parents are together, you know, you're likable, everything's fine. And you're just getting on with your life and you're afraid to tell people that, you know, at 16 years old, you know, you're seeing a guy get fucking acid thrown in his face, or you saw a kid fall off his bike and his leg bent backwards, and it's really, really affected you. And sometimes, like, it wigs you out, and you don't do anything about that. And I think everybody should, if you're serious about anything, relationship, sports, work, anything, go and check out your baggage. And the thing, and if you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, you know, how do you know what baggage you have? If you're telling yourself, I don't have any baggage, yeah, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have any baggage. So, yeah, and I see it a lot. I hear and I watch people talking about their partners or their exes. And they're like, oh yeah, man, I was in this toxic relationship. And you're going, what, you had absolutely no part in that?
Yeah. It takes two to tango.
you weren't toxic at all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Narcissists calling other people narcissists. You're like, yeah, because you haven't dealt with your issues. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying that, like, I was 50 now, I was 43 before I got help. I'd done a lot of damage, man. Like, a lot. To loved ones. You know, there's not a lot of strangers out there that lose sleep or think about me doing shit to them. But there's a lot of people who I'm very close to, who I love and who love me, can actually look at me across the room and go, I remember what the fuck you did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We only end up wanting the people we love the most. So my advice to any young man, like, it's not to do more kilometers, train twice a day, do an ice bath, do this. That's not it. For me, it's the mind. You know, get your mind right so you can devote yourself to something. You know, because whatever you decide to do, you'll fall in love with, right? When you fall in love with something, somebody will tell you not to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Guaranteed. Like, you go and tell someone about your dreams, right? And you know, you go and tell your parents, this is what I want to do. They'll look at you and go, no, you can't do that. You need to do this. And it's not that they're shitting on your dreams. They're just afraid that you'll fail. It's not that they don't love you. They do love you. They want the best for you. That's why they're saying, don't chase that dream. It's crazy, you know? And then, you know, go and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, go and do it anyway. But yeah, if I was a young kid and doing that, like, I remember reading a book, or it was in a paper, and they were talking about sports psychologists, and they were saying that you know, don't bother with a sports psychologist. Just go and see a fucking psychologist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what they were saying is that there was times where athletes would rock up, you know, they're not performing. Like, let's say a soccer player, high-performance soccer player, and he hasn't scored in 6 games or 10 games, right? So they send him to the sports psychologist. Now, the problem isn't him not kicking the ball. The problem is that something from his past is affecting him. So the conversation might start out like, okay, the sports psychologist is there to work on performance, but he's a psychologist. And this soccer player is thinking to himself, he doesn't see sport before psychologist, he just sees psychologist. So he rocks up. Yeah, I'm having this really, really bad relationship with a girl. I know she's bad for me. We're arguing all the time. I think that's affected me, goal scoring stuff. Yeah, no worries, yeah. But the reason I can't talk to girls is because, you know, I witnessed my mum suicide. Now, all of a sudden, the sports psychologist is like, whoa, hang on, buddy. I need you to go and talk to a real psychologist. And that guy, that soccer player, that guy or that girl that took hours and weeks and months to build up the courage to go and talk to that sports psychologist is now after being let down by them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to fucking go talk to anybody. Fuck you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just got to be careful who you talk to. And again, I was going to say, like, talk to your coach. But then we just had this big long conversation about these fucking coaches that are shit, and they could weaponize that kind of stuff to keep you in their cult.
They'll pretend they know it all.
Oh, 100%. So if your coach is telling you you can't cross-train somewhere, do not divulge any secrets to that guy. Don't talk to, he's not a safe adult to talk to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're in a church or whatever, sometimes talking to your priest mightn't be the best idea. It might be the best idea. So you just have to be very and it's like going to see a therapist or seeking professional help is like going to see a doctor, a gym. Like, are you trying to tell me that the coaching staff or the coaches at Miles Simpson's gym are just the same coaches as the gym you came from, the one you were talking about in the small town? Chalk and cheese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting help is the same thing. So if you turn up to see a therapist and it's a 24-year-old girl, mine was, and the very first session, I just remember sitting there going, how the fuck can she help me? There's no way she can help me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then and she then explained to me after all of our sessions, I said it to her, you know, I said, look, when I first came in here, this is what I was thinking. And she said, when you drop your car off, you know, to the mechanic, do you say to him, are you Irish? Because only Irishmen can fix my car.
Yeah.
It's the skill. They can either fix your car or they can't. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to have lived your life. Or you drop your car off to the mechanic and you say, hey mate, have you lived my life? Because if you haven't, I only want boxers to fix my car. I only want ex-military dudes to fix my car. No, just fix my car. You know? So getting over the hump of who you should talk to, and you know, because the person that does all that, you know, they could be the most unassuming person you'd ever meet. So if I could suggest anything to young guys, especially young men, is to go and get some help. And I'm not, like, obviously there's some great men's groups that you can go to, but I'm talking about for you, go and avail of your, I think it's 10 free sessions every Australian can have.
Yeah, I've taken advantage of that
Yeah,
myself.
yeah. That's what I did. And it was 12 when I did it. I got 12. And it's funny, the place that they go to was like a fucking shithole. But I went and I did it. And I finished my whole thing, and it was one of the best things that I've ever done. And my life changed because of it. I became a better everything.
My psychologist gave me George Foreman's autobiography.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, that's good. It's funny when you say about with the young, like a young therapist. I actually, I've been to a lot of physios because I break myself all the time at the gym, and I actually get excited by young physios because I'm like, they're fresh, they're keen, and even though they might not have been doing enthusiastic, and I've had great results from a young girl who helped me get back from my MCL injury, coming back from the broken leg. He was a young guy, had only been doing it like out of his uni for like 6 years. And then I had another guy who helped me with a shoulder injury, which ended up being nerve damage in my neck. He'd only been doing it less than 12 months. And when he told me, first thought was, I was like, fuck, this guy doesn't even know what he's doing. He diagnosed it in the first session, and within 2 weeks, I could sleep comfortably with my shoulder because it was my neck.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? But then I've been to physios that are old and over it, been around a while, and they sort of, oh, you know, you have to come back in next week. We'll book 2 sessions next week. And that's cool. That might be their process, but yeah, it's funny. Like, you can't really judge a book, eh?
Yeah, and look, so much of it is guesswork. You know, and they're trying to go off experience and all that kind of stuff. You know, like you go to a physio that's a basketball physio. You know, he's thinking basketball. Do you know what I mean? But you go to a physio that does basketball, football, like all the things. There's a good chance that he'll have seen your injury somewhere. You know, but again, like you just get lucky sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know.
I haven't touched on your complete fighter care, so please break it down so we can give it a plug because
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
well,
the work that you've been doing. We
yeah.
talked about the hand wrapping and stuff, but
Yeah, so I was, I was buying gauze and tape to wrap hands with, and it's quite expensive, right? And it's hard to get sometimes. And I was thinking of a way, how the hell can I monetize not having to pay? Like, how can I get this stuff for free without a sponsorship or anything like that? And there was a show on called, is it North vs South, the MMA show?
oh yeah, the Element Boys run that.
Yeah. So Matt from Elements rings me up and he goes, listen, we have something like 12 fighters on, and CCMA have 12 fighters on, and the coaches just won't have the time to wrap hands. Can you help? I said, well, you're obviously going to need to get gauze and tape and all that kind of stuff. And I don't mind running a couple of workshops. Like, I don't mind doing any of that. And he goes, yeah, I can't get the tape and I can't get the gauze. It's all sold out. The delivery is crazy. So I made a few phone calls. I got in touch with Sting Sports. They said, yeah, look, we'll sort you out, all that. And so we did that. And then as I was doing that, I was like, you know what? I might fucking do this, you know? So, sent the old email to the guys that are always contacting you about boxing gloves and all that kind of stuff. So I reached out to them about some leather gloves, custom made stuff, how to make wristbands, and a couple of ideas and design stuff. Because you can buy Cutman stuff, but I'm thinking, how I like to use it. I'd like a little adjustments here and there. So I'm getting, some handmade stuff made. I'm getting some Cutman corner supplies made. And I'm just in the process of getting a website, package it all up.
Yeah.
But it's a niche corner in a minority sport.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd be lucky to make $5,000 a year. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Before tax.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanna really do it. It's and I'm loving it. I'm loving making the thing, and it's one of those things where I used to. A part of my photography journey was to make online content for people. I was the guy that would come into your jiu-jitsu gym and say, do you want 1 month's worth of content for $500? Like, I was that guy. And now I'm like, okay, you have to start an Instagram page from scratch and a YouTube channel from scratch. And on my whiteboard, I was like, okay, by the end of 2024, if I can have 1,000 Instagram followers and 3,000 YouTube subscribers, I'll be happy.
Yep.
And we've 2 months left in the year, and I think I'm on 2,760 subscribers on YouTube.
That's killer.
And 1,200 and something followers on Instagram. So I'm doing all the things that I would, when I would walk into gyms and barber shops and tattoo parlors and saying, hey, do you want me to run your social media? These are the tools. I'm now doing that for myself. And it's working. It's working. Yeah, but again, as I say to people, like if my kids wouldn't want to be starving because they'd be waiting a long time to get anything out of this business, because all the money it's just going one direction, and that's out. But I've got some merch ideas, and but most of it's just around taping, gauzing. Like, so the tape, the gauze, the knuckle pads, the end swells, the wristbands, the gloves, the scissors, the buckets, towels, and then workshops, like how to use this stuff. So my YouTube channel at the moment is just reactions to controversies, like, glove selection.
Yeah, I was watching it before. Yeah.
So it's around that. But once I have my web page up and running, because there's no point in me doing a YouTube video that has potentially get 10,000 views, right, with a wristband, and then have nowhere to send them.
Yeah.
So once my YouTube channel is up and running, I'll then start making videos around, okay, do you have a Cutman wristband? If you don't, this is why you need one. And then how you use it, all that kind of stuff, all the different scenarios. And then, by the way, I sell them on my website, the link down below. that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I'm kind of giving. So there's a big thing that when you get into any form of sales, right, or not even sales, especially when you're doing tutorials or anything like that, there's no point in me telling you this awesome wristband is great, right? I need to show you the wristband and then figure out what's your problem. Your problem is that A, you probably don't know how to use it. B, you probably think you don't need it. And then I educate you on it and you go, do you know what? That wristband's a good idea. And then you buy it.
Yeah.
So I'm in that process now of, you know, making all these videos, hopefully to sell the products. So that's it, yeah, just corner suppliers, Cutman gear and corner suppliers, you know, and because when I went to visit Sting that supplied the tape and the gauze, and they, like we literally walked through their whole warehouse, down the back, in the back corner, there was a pallet, and all covered in dust, this like tape and gauze. And I was like, holy shit, and he goes, yeah, Rich, this is the bottom of our thing. Like this, we just sell this because it's convenient for coaches.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really small niche in a minority sport.
But if you've got a one-stop shop, and you know,
that's the thing.
People, you know,
100%.
coaches. I mean, when I had a sand shower fight when I was 20, so 15 years ago. My coach didn't even know how to wrap hands. I used my wraps that I learned from when I trained at a Thai gym, and I just had the red, I can't even remember what brand it was, started with an M, I reckon. I just wrapped my own hands.
Masashi or something.
Yeah. Put some tape around it.
Yeah.
Hands in the gloves.
Yeah.
And that was it. So it's like for people that, because you know everyone has to start somewhere. Like just because you're a fresh coach doesn't mean you can't train someone to have their first fight. So like those guys might not have all the tools. Then they go to a guy like you. Can you hit you up? Can you teach me how to do it?
Yep.
You go, here you go. You can buy this kit. You got everything from the bucket to the wrist strap, all the gauze, tape, and then they can just
watch the hand wrapping tutorial or whatever, you know. Yeah. And like the best business practice would be to make a course, you know, like those jiu-jitsu tutorials.
Yep.
Make one of them and sell that. But I'm thinking more of the, you know, educate and then supply the tools needed. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, but it's good. I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm not enjoying the having to make, you know, templates and fucking the editing and all that kind of stuff. You know.
I gotta go for that.
You know. But it's good, and I do enjoy it. You know, I do enjoy it. You know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm enjoying doing the YouTube videos. I'm enjoying putting them out there. I'm enjoying being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't get anywhere in your comfort zone.
Yeah. But man, I'm just so fucking busy. That's the thing. But it's good, you know. Someone like me doesn't want to be sitting down for too long. You know, want to be doing something. You know, and I do fucking so much, but it's great.
Unreal, bro. That's a bloody good chat.
Thanks for the chat. Yeah, it was great. I did.